and then counting straight through the whole video, I was like, no way. There's no way that this lines up this well. 1 year ago today, I had 52 subscribers on YouTube. And then this happened.
What's poppin'?
This was the video that kind of kicked everything off. Cardi B shared it on Twitter. Snoop Dogg put it in his Instagram. List of things I never in my life thought would have happened. But it presented me with a huge opportunity, and today that 52 number is a little bit bigger. And that's thanks to all of you who watch my videos, and every day I'm just blown away that I get to do this, so thank you. I thought it would be fun to kind of go back and look at some of the memes that we've done over the last year and react to them and maybe give some insight on what I was thinking musically or whether I was thinking at all. So hopefully maybe there's a few that we check out in here that maybe you haven't seen before.
Hold up! Her sister was a witch, right? And what was her sister? A princess! The witch went to the east, bro! You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong? She wore a crown and she came down in a bowl. I'm fighting with you. Grow up, bro! Grow up!
In a bubble, dog. You know one thing about this video that I didn't even realize at the time that the guy gets up and whips out a knife and says, I'm gonna stab him. I didn't even hear that because I wasn't listening for words. I was like listening for pitch. So you'll know, like I played that part in the video, but I totally missed that he literally goes, I'm gonna stab him. I didn't even hear that at all. The opening of this video, I think, is what really made it work. I figured out that his, the hold on thing was kind of like, he was kind of just falling down chromatically, and it felt like such a alarming. He's super angry, so I used a half diminished chord, and I just dropped that in, just chromatically. But that opening, it seemed to just work and fit really well. And I think when people saw those first few seconds, it was kind of like, that was like a hook enough to check out the rest of it, which is just pure insanity. That was definitely one of my favorite ones. So I did this one of Gus Johnson, who I'm a huge fan of. Gus is awesome and hilarious, and I wanted to do a bit of his.
Hi there, Mom, how you doing today? No, I'm doing alright, thanks for asking, I appreciate it. Listen, you know what I saw today, Mom? I saw a man walk down the street and he had one of them ice cream cones. You know, the kind with the fudge dip and the chocolate.
All right, that line right there, I was so pumped at how that lined up. When he goes, you know the kind with the fudge dipped in the chocolate, and the way that it kind of just fell into this, the kind with the fudge dip in the chocolate. And I was like, oh shit, that's actually pretty good.
One of them ice cream cones, you know, the kind with the fudge dip and the chocolate inside. That's where you got that ice cream cone. He told me on 3rd Street I got one, it was good. You know what?
Okay, so this is an example of, there were times when just whatever he was doing, like it worked to a point, but it would not fall in totally. So I had to throw in a couple of bars of like, maybe like a 2/4 bar, or just an extra beat, or take out a beat here and there, just so that I could get the really good phrases to fall at the right time. So like, the kind with the fudge dip in the chocolate. Like if I had put that at a different part in the measure, it probably would not have sounded as good. So later on in the video, there's instances where it's like there was a line that had a certain rhythmic cadence, and I was like, okay, I want this to line up, so I'm gonna have to shift the whole measure over by a beat or back by a beat. So I'm gonna have to do a bar somewhere in here that's not in 4/4. And that's what this is.
Told me on 3rd Street I got one, it was good. You know who I saw after that? It was Ricky Hamilton from 3rd grade. No, not the one that showed me his penis on the playground. The other Ricky. No, I don't remember if he had a boner.
That was one where I could not find any way to get it to line up, so I just let it pause as though it was like a dramatic, like a fermata or something, and then just came back in with a fill and back into it. I love how we can just look at this stuff and totally just not even make mention of how ridiculous the lines that he's saying are. That's why Gus's video is so great though, because it's just so ridiculous.
Boner. I don't even know if you can get those in 3rd grade. Anyway, we had a couple exchange words and then we went on our separate ways. We're here in the studio now doing a song, no Mom, so I gotta hang up. So I love you very much, sincerely, your son Paul Simon. Bye.
Your son, Paul Simon, bye. Like the way it lined up on the third beat, just a perfect ending. And it just, I kind of worked backwards from that. So to figure out where I needed to do one of those bars where I take out a beat or add a beat or whatever, I was kind of like, I knew how it was going to end. And then I had to find where they didn't match up. And then how am I going to negotiate that sort of odd beat count or whatever. The other one that's a lot like that, which is one of my favorite videos that I've ever made, is the Have You Ever Had a Dream Kid.
Have you ever had a dream that you wanted to do so much you could do anything?
Oh my god, it's so dumb. Rhythmically, this is like one of the most fun things I think I've ever made, just in music, period, not even just YouTube. And this was the exact same process. I just, I picked a subdivision. So like, have you ever had a dream? When he says that, I was like, all right, is that a 8th note triplet? Is that 16th notes? What is that? And I wound up going on 16th notes. And when I counted it that way, so I was like, have you ever had a dream? Da 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 da. Have you ever had a dream? Da 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 da. So thinking of them as 16th notes and then counting straight through the whole video, I was like, no way. There's no way that this lines up this well, because it had everything. It was like it had these interesting rhythms and these just cool motifs that kind of like drop an accent in an odd place, which I love. I mean, the way that rhythmically this came out, this is reminiscent of some of my favorite types of music. Stuff that's just super cool rhythmically, but that's still in 4/4. By the way, this is in 4/4. Some people asked when this came out. They were like, what's the time signature here? It's just 4. Check it out.
Have you ever had a dream
and then like a fermata before the end. So yeah, it's just 4/4, and that makes those rhythmic sort of accents fall in really cool places to give it this super syncopated thing. But yeah, I was really happy with how this one came out. Yeah, this is straight up like one of my favorite musical creations I've ever made. Oh, okay. Selecting your spot. I see. You see when you lay down, I can no longer reach you. So I have no idea how much of this one I can show because, yeah, I don't want to get demonetized, but we'll take a look at what we can. Maybe I'll just censor some of it.
Or I don't want to be nobody's fighting babysitter. Hell, sometimes I may want to get being carried to the car. Let me sit in my back seat. I've done it many a times. Because I didn't want to get up and drive. Knowing re-driving while I'm already up. So bitch, I crashed in my back seat for a couple of hours. And I just hit my balls. Oh, it's got hot. I gotta get out of here. I'm done. Yeah.
Balls. So stupid. Do you know how many times it took to get the eye close and the facial expressions to line up at the right time? I must have done that 50 times and just to try to get it to line up right. And I didn't even nail it fully, but like it was, I don't know, it was close. But that one it's just so great.
No pomegranates! No pomegranates! No! I don't want them anywhere near here. Am I clear? Say the rule again. No pomegranates! Say it. No pomegranates.
Oh, that's so dumb, so stupid. I really went hard on that one, didn't I? Yikes. That's, okay, Charles, I look like a complete insane person. I found out as a result of posting this video that this was actually a class, I think it was a college class, and the professor here, freaking out about pomegranates, was demonstrating ineffective disciplinary techniques with children. And I'm assuming that the idea was like, don't scream at them because it's probably not going to work too well. So it was, it wasn't an actual freak out. about pomegranates, but it still makes for a great video nonetheless. And yeah, this one was one of those ones where it's like the vibe of what the dialogue was and the yelling and everything, and it was like, this has got to be a minor, super dark, classical sounding, lots of like big chords and runs, and it worked. The melody notes from the screaming seemed to just work pretty well with the minor chord progression that actually kind of made some sense in some places. Yeah, anytime a big pause like that, if I can time like that kind of run. I did the same thing in the James Charles video. Actually, we should look at that one too, because that was equally ridiculous.
Hi all, James here. I wish that I could say this was the last time that I would make a mistake, but it won't be. I have a long way to go. A very long way to go. I'm gonna keep trying my best and keep learning and growing, and be the best version of me that I possibly can be. I'm sorry. In regards to the boy situation,
That took so many tries.
this is a conversation that I know a lot of people are uncomfortable with, and I'm not doing that today. I'm sorry. Apologies.
Oh, so dumb. Wow. Yeah. No. So that one, I cut his video up so that it would sound ridiculous. Like, so I would cut sentences, this one to that, because the whole video really didn't work that well as music, but parts of it did. And the parts that did, I cut up so that the sentences would be like, not make any sense. And like when he says, I know there's a conversation that a lot of people are uncomfortable with, and then I cut to, and I'm not doing that today, I'm sorry. Like, this one was a fun one. And the run thing, yeah, just like the other video, just like the pomegranates video, that took me so many tries to it's the timing. It's not necessarily like playing the run, something like that, but the timing to get it right to line up so that when I hit that last part, it was on because that was what I was trying to set up. That took a lot of tries. And obviously, Cardi B has been a huge part of this whole piano dub meme thing. And I'm not gonna do any of them in this video because chances are a lot of people have seen them already, and I come back to her every now and again whenever she puts out something particularly fitting for this. And you know, I don't know, I feel like I do it enough. Anyways, there are so many more, but the biggest thing is just, I owe it to all of you guys for watching the videos and clicking on things when I put stuff out. That's just super cool that you do that, and I'm really grateful because I'm able to do this, and that's crazy. So thank you. And I hope, you know, some of this stuff was fun to see. Maybe I hope there's something in here that you hadn't seen before. Thank you. And we'll see you in the next video.